What up? Are we on? Yay! What up? It's your girl, Vashay, aka Melanated Dope. Come on. In the room, my niggas. Hi, you guys. So, it is a beautiful, vivacious Venus day. And yeah, we're going to get into this book. Okay? We're going to finish up chapter 8, which is shared values. When last time we read Mercury Day? So, we read on Wednesday. What up, Kilville? Hi, darling. Um, we we read. I'm trying to remember what we stopped at. Yep. This is where we stopped at. Okay, so we stopped at. Dang, what was this? Initiations. Okay, so chapter 8 is all about the shared values that we have between us and our ancestors, as well as diasporically. Juju Bay has done a very, very great job. What up, Blessed? How are you, boo? Um, Juju Bay has done a very just awesome job in contextualizing black ass spirituality, which is hoodoo. Okay, but she also talks about African traditional religions, which we call them ATRs, or African diasporic religions, which we refer to as ADRs. I am great, blessed, and highly favored, honey. Okay, so many things. Thank you for pulling up. Ooh, oh Lord, be still. Don't do that. Okay, child. All right, so we're just gonna jump right on into it. It's not much left to chapter 8, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna flow. I'm a, thank you. Don't have me blushing on here. I'm a, I'm gonna stay. I was gonna say we can flow right on into um chapter 9 because it's not much to chapter 9, and I have time today. Okay, all right. All right, so let's get into it. To recap, go back and watch. I've been live for what, the past 2 weeks now. So there's every chapter. I've read every chapter live. So if you are interested in it, this is the Book of Juju. You could go to ITSJUJUBAE. It's Juju Bay, and hit that link in her bio. Okay, and go get her book and follow along and or read for yourself. So that way you could go back and she has some really questions. We call them journal prompts. You know what I'm saying? She has activities because there's a coin divination, and up in the beginning, I forgot what chapter it was, but she had the ancestral imagination activity, and we still got plenty more to do. Okay, so I'm excited about this. I really love reading to y'all. I love that y'all show up and you know what I'm saying, affirm me in this that I'm doing, because niggas just don't be wanting to read, but that is by design. We know that the education system, especially in America, is not created to truly educate our children. You know what I'm saying? With a lot of our kids, but it also starts at home. We cannot expect the government, or you know what I'm saying, these institutions or the matrix to have our best interests at heart. So I pray that more of us start homeschooling. Okay, we gotta get our kids out of these. You know what I'm saying? My son, he is in public school, but eventually, I want to homeschool him. Okay. However, I need to learn the tools to be able to homeschool my son who is autistic. Okay. So anyway, let's get into it. Like I said, go back and listen to me read and or go buy the book. Oh, and it's also available on Audible. So if you don't want to listen to me read it, hi there. You could go listen to Juju Bay herself read it on Audible. Okay, all right. So let's get into it. We are chapter 8, shared values, and we're on the section of prayer, because we know that prayer changes things. Okay. So as mentioned earlier, prayer is such an important ingredient to any ritual, ceremony, offering, or sacrifice. If we do not intentionally state our purposes for giving or offerings, we're just going through the motions. Prayer is pivotal for setting the stage for what we are desiring. It allows us space to set our intention and define our goal. Prayer allows us to clarify our thoughts so we can manifest our goal through spoken or written words. Unfortunately, prayer is often cast as something that only people who practice Abrahamic faith do, or something people only do in church or in a mosque. Yet, prayer is a powerful tool used by many, regardless of religious affiliation. Prayer is an intention that we set every day. Prayer is a form of focused energy and communication between spirits. It can be used to show deep gratitude, praise, make a request, heal, atone, and even harm. Our words have a lot of power, and prayer is a way to invoke that power and establish a clear relationship between yourself and your ancestors. Ask for what you want, and sometimes you need to respectfully demand that situation shift by stating your claims and what you desire. Let this be an opportunity to activate that throat chakra and shift the energy around you through the power of the tongue. Prayer is a direct communication line to your particular ancestors, but remember that good communication is not just speaking, but also listening. Now, I already know some of you all are reading this and saying, but Juju, I don't hear spirit. I don't see spirits. So how am I supposed to listen? And my response is relax. Okay? Relax. Because you don't need to be a psychic, medium, clairvoyant, Houdini in order to receive information from the spirit realm. Intentional prayer also requires you to pay attention to your body. Do you find yourself getting a hot flash or maybe a cold chill down your spine? Do you sense that you received a message or did something specific come into your mind as you were praying? Did you hear something or did your cat brush against your leg? All these are signs that your ancestors may be communicating with you, saying, I hear you. For you did not experience any of these things, I promise your ancestors heard you too. And I can assure you that they are working on it. Okay, I'm going to pause. So she actually has, oh, thank you, Mark. So she actually has a activity of how to pray right here. I'm going to read that to you. But also when she talks about how spirit shows up in many different ways, because like spirit ain't just going to be like, hey girl, move, go that way, do this, do that. No, it's a sensation. When I remember, this probably was like 2021, I was sitting outside praying, talking to my ancestors. Specifically, I was calling on my mom, and I felt something just brush up up against my arm. It was like I could feel it, and I knew that was confirmation. Or sometimes if I have a ringing in my ear, or my nose gets to itching, just different ways the body and feelings and things. Okay, so be listening. Okay, so we're gonna read how to pray. Prayer can look many ways for different people. In my experience as a practitioner of Africana spiritual systems, these are general tools and steps that I like to keep in mind as I pray. Who am I addressing? To my loving ancestors. Show gratitude. Thank you for love and sacrifices. Thank you for taking care of me in the ways that I see and the ways that I don't see. State intention. I come to you today requesting a job change. It's time for me to be hired in a new position as I am ready to expand into my career as you would want. Make sure you're clear and specific about what you're asking for. I am being interviewed tomorrow, ancestors, and I pray that the interview goes flawlessly. May my words be clear. May my resume be the most attractive to the respective interviewers. May there be no other option but to hire me on the spot. And may this job be one that benefits me, my pockets, my family, my mental health, and my life overall. Show gratitude again. Thank you, as I know it's already done and the job is already mine. And if for any reason this job is not mine, I know it is because you are opening me up to an even bigger blessing beyond my wildest dreams. May I be open to all my blessings. Closing, Ashe and amen. Okay? Ashe and amen. So write a prayer from your heart to your ancestors. Begin with gratitude and let the rest of the words flow. Jot down what comes to mind and try to incorporate this prayer into your everyday routines and rituals. This may be the prayer you use to greet your ancestors or for something else completely. It doesn't have to be long. Just let it be from the heart. Okay, period. That's and I did hold on. The other day I told y'all like I like to close out my prayers with the words of my heart may the words of my mouth meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Okay. And you can say, oh, spirits, my ancestors, my redeemers, Ashe, amen. Okay. I learned that from Deacon Meminger Sunday School at Union Baptist Church. Hallelujah. Okay. Church taught me a lot of things. Okay, good and bad. And I take it all with love and grace. Okay. So the next section, ritual. Okay, because you cannot be spiritual without the ritual. Okay, I heard that on LaVon Briggs live one day, and I've been using it ever since because it is so freaking true. So a ritual is a sequence of activities involving gestures, words, actions, or revered objects. As Elder Malidoma Patrice Somé defines it, based on the beliefs of the Dagara village in Burkina Faso, where he was born, a ritual is a series of two parts. The first part is planned by the individuals who plan to participate in the ritual. This helps establish the general process. The second part of the ritual is unplanned is unplanned as it is not controlled by the individuals, but entirely up to the energy force that is activated through the ritual. As Somé so eloquently states, before you get started in the ritual, you own the journey. After you start, the journey owns you. Rituals in this particular context are not merely routines. They are gatherings where people can express whatever is needed, usually with others, in order to engage a response from spirit and the energy source. I have engaged in quite a few rituals in my life, some for healing, some to open paths for more abundance and prosperity, some for safety and protection, and even some to build a stronger bond in a relationship. Traditionally, there is a ritual for absolutely anything. If you are ill, there are rituals for that. If you and your partner are not getting along, there's a ritual for that. If you've been suffering physically, there are many rituals for that. Unfortunately, a highly ritualized lifestyle is one that many folks throughout the West have lost because ritual isn't commonplace. As we engage more with the ancestors in the ancestral realm, we can learn about rituals and their importance in creating possibilities for ourselves and helping us reach outcomes that we desire. Although rituals are seemingly less accessible to us in modern life, the desire for rituals is very apparent. Therapists, self-help groups, healing circles, and other clubs have seemed to take place of rituals in the West. Now, I love my therapist, so this is not to say that we should not engage with these supportive spaces. However, ritual adds another layer to our healing and allows us to nurture the soul in ways that these groups cannot always take on. Rituals are wonderful because some can happen while we're alone and others happen in a group. Imagine dealing with a breakup and seeing your therapist to help you sort through your emotions. This is great. You have a conversation with some friends who make you laugh and it takes your mind off things. Wonderful. Yet on top of this, think of a space that you create with other people who are intending to engage in a ritual to help mend the brokenness of your heart. There are people who are responsible for tending to the needs of the participants, people who can allow you to mourn and not try to make you stop crying. In this session, you invite your loving ancestors who will pour the love you feel that who will pour the love you feel that you are missing back into you. They come with messages about your strength and the hard lessons that come with the breakup. But there's an unexplainable level of ecstasy and peace that really centers you and grounds you, allowing you to continue on each day. With this newfound energy, you are better equipped to power through therapy and have fun with friends because you know that there is a force filling you up and helping to piece your spirit back together. The heartbreak ritual could also be a spiritual bath that you need to take for 9 days in order to spiritually support you through your grief. Ritual is not a magic show or a trick to make everything perfect again. Sometimes rituals need to happen multiple times to help us properly address a concern. And sometimes they can last 4 hours and even days. However, they represent a level of healing that's hard to find in spaces that are devoid of spirit building and ancestral healing. Understanding the importance of this way of life will help you understand the medicine that your ancestors have for you and ultimately strengthen your relationship with them. Elders. Okay. Last, I'd like to share and highlight the critical importance of the elders. Elders in most Africana-centered spiritual practices are the key to ancestral and communal. If I keep this thing one more time, I'm sorry. What up, Messy? How are you, boo? All praise to the Most High, Ashe. Sorry. Who's speaking? Where we at? Elders in most Africana-centered spiritual practices are the key to ancestral and communal connection. This is why phrases like respect your elders have been so commonplace within African American communities. Elders are honored as life's seasoned professionals whose duty is to guide and elevate those around them. Now, this is key. Just because someone is old does not make them an elder. I'm going to read that again. Just because someone is old does not make them an elder. Okay? I'm just saying. And even if they're blood related to you, it don't matter. If they are moving in a way that elevates you, that shows you love and guidance and what you need, baby, they not your elder. They just an old person that feels they're above you. Okay? Moving on. And look, I repeat, just because someone has lived a long life does not automatically make them an elder. An elder, similar to an ancestor, is a title that is earned. Clock that. It is a title that is earned. I'm just saying. Colloquially, I'll hear people refer to those who are wise in wisdom as OGs. I like to think of an OG as a more common way to refer to someone who holds the status of eldership. From an indigenous point of view, elders are the closest connections to our ancestors besides children. Both elders and children are understood to have immense spiritual qualities because they are so close to the realm of spirits due to their ages. Although age tends to be a factor, elders are not required to be old people. An elder can be someone who is wise beyond their years or who has put a lot of time and energy into a particular lifestyle or craft that would deem them extremely knowledgeable and an important teacher. Age does not necessarily qualify someone as an elder as much as time, wisdom, and personal sacrifice. It's important to understand the high regard that elders are held in, as this will guide you in approaching and honoring your ancestors. Elders are held with the same kind of reverence you would reserve for your ancestral spirits. Elders also have the last say, even when it deviates from what we may personally want. Lastly, caring for the elderly, as I found in my spiritual traditions of Hoodoo and Ifa, has been key in bringing blessings to my life. I've even had a reading by someone who said, Help some elderly people so you can secure the blessings in your life. That reading was absolutely right. Those blessings come in the form of conversations I would not have had otherwise. The gift of patience and even a good job after braiding my grandmother's hair. I've learned that respecting my ancestors has only brought goodness into my life. Even when they eat, I'm sorry, even when they get on our everlasting nerve. If things feel a little out of whack for you, seek seek someone with some sense to commune with. Okay? Some sense. Possibly help, and most importantly listen to. Because I really want us to stop running to our homies and homegirls who and homeboys, our friend circles who are not elevated. You know what I'm saying? Your circle is a direct reflection of where you are and where you're gonna be. Because if your circle, and then you got to know that you got to have different circles for everything. You know what I'm saying? I have different friend groups for everything. You know what I'm saying? I have friends that I can turn up with, and I have friends that I can do spiritual shit with. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to curate a mom group. You know what I'm saying? That's local, so we can hang out with the kids. You know what I'm saying? Groups for everything. So with all that being said, you know what I'm saying? Start getting around some people who can elevate you. No, I'm not saying leave those friends behind. Because those friends, you know what I'm saying, they're still good people. And some of them just don't know that they're lost. Now, if those friendships are hurting you, then let them go. You know what I'm saying? And if your friends just seem to be stuck in one place, but you see the light, baby, move on. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't got to be nasty, and you ain't got to just leave them behind. But sometimes they got to see it to believe it and achieve it. Okay. And my nigga, you are probably the one that's gonna do that for your people. Okay. So finding your elders. Do you have any people in your life whom you consider elders? What makes them an elder or OG to you? Is it based on age, their status, commitment to goals, or something else? If you don't have any elders in your life and feel that having them is important to you, consider volunteering your time at a nursing home or helping a family or community member with a simple task. It can be as simple as carrying someone's bag or cutting your neighbor's grass. Because I'm not even going to hold you, as I've been reading this, in my head, I saw me reading to old people. So, yeah, I'm about to start hitting up the nursing homes around town and seeing if I can come read to the old folks. Now I gotta get me a mic and a little speaker and some good books. Matter of fact, I'm probably gonna read these thrillers, and I don't think they need to get romantic. But anyway, moving on. And I think this is the last section. Yes, it is. Embracing the old ways. Honoring nature, plant medicine, community, ritual, and elders are all ways that will make your relationship building with your ancestors more comprehensive and clearer. Internalizing this way of seeing the world is not something that happens overnight. In many ways, a lot of these aspects have been disregarded as being of lesser importance in the Western world. Engaging with them will not look like how it did for our ancestors way back in the day. As modern day individuals, we have the power to explore various ways to incorporate meaning into all these important facets of our daily lives. The point, though, is to reignite your ancestral memory of how and why honoring these traditions is important, and how doing so is one of the tools that our ancestors left us for wellness and abundance. We just took in quite a bit of information. Yes, we did. I hope you're not overwhelmed and feeling like building relationships with your spirits is too daunting or confusing. I promise you it's not. It is serious, intentional, and consistent. But it should always be fun and exciting. You'll soon learn that spirits are wise and to be revered, but also hilarious, salacious, and really just a whole trip. The same way that you know people in the physical realm who are silly, you'll find that you have some silly ass ancestors too. Although the practice you are developing is referred to as ancestral work. Know that ancestors give us so much grace as we learn about them and how to commune with them properly. Remember, your ancestors were once humans, so they vividly remember how confusing it was to be alive. Know that as long as you are operating from a place of genuine love and curiosity, you'll be fine. Not only will you be fine, but you already are, because ancestral veneration isn't something completely new to you. As we've learned already, ancestral veneration is all around us. Marathons, streets, and organizations are often named after beloved dead folks. The desire to perfect the recipe of Auntie Mary's sweet potato pie is a form of ancestral veneration. The act of intentionally validating and honoring the importance of someone who has departed us is a huge component of what our ancestors desire from the spiritual realm. They want to be remembered, honored, and venerated. So if you've ever done this, your ancestral journey has already begun. Ancestors want to be properly elevated and remembered fondly. To me, it makes sense to want to leave. I'm sorry. To me, it makes sense to want to leave a legacy. This is a conversation that happens among the living, the desire to be remembered well. I'm sure it means that you lived a good and honorable life, which I'm sure would bring the dead and the living a lot of peace. Ancestral veneration could also be looking in the mirror and admiring yourself. Perhaps you love your almond shaped eyes or the dimples in your cheeks. Maybe you love your height or the coil of your hair. All these attributes that you admire came from multiple ancestors of yours. This acknowledgement that you're beautiful because the people before you were beautiful is such a kind way to honor yourself and the gorgeousness of your lineage. If you're from the city like me, you may have seen street vigils and altars lining corners and blocks, usually where someone was murdered. There are usually candles, balloons, sometimes offerings like bottles of liquor or cigarettes, and maybe a stuffed animal of the victim was a child, if the victim was a child. People attend these vigils to mourn the loss, and the street shrine will often be kept up for days, sometimes weeks, and even months after the murder. Pouring a little liquor out for the homies, at least in the 90s, was a frequent act of reverence for the dead that is pretty common within the African American community and pop culture. Okay, pour out a little liquor for the homies. This is for my homies. But even in that song, since I'm singing it, okay, that song is ancestral veneration because he says, "This is for my homies in that gangsta." What did he say? In that gangsta lean, okay. See you when I get there, okay. So he's just saying, "Hey, this is for my people who have gone on." So if that song moves your spirit, you should play it for the ancestors. Last section, the magic of storytelling. One of the most powerful forms of keeping an ancestor's name alive is through the power of storytelling. Storytelling is one of the most groundbreaking tools that we have as a society. Griots and oral history are one of the primary reasons that African and African descendant people have any ideas about their ancestors or who we were as a people. Physical documentation was not always an accessible tool, and as we have seen from those who descended from the enslaved, our stories were often not properly documented to reflect the very real racism of the times. Nothing much has changed. Relying on written words and data is a wonderful way to collect and maintain information, but there's truly nothing like a good story. We as a community owe a lot to storytellers and griots because they are how we. I'm sorry. Let me get the word together. They are how we have maintained our historical occurrences, family connections, and our spirituality through lore and other means. If you have ever shared a story or recalled a tale that was shared with you from or about someone who is deceased, you've engaged in one of the most powerful forms of veneration. Simply talking about our people is magical. Stories bring people to life, not solely because of a book or movie, but in your own words. Recollecting the time your cousin threw you a surprise party before they passed is a form of ancestor veneration. Recollecting the time you and your beloved homegirl snuck out of the house to go to a party and got caught honors her name. As someone who connects to people's ancestors on their behalf quite often, let me tell you that our people love stories. They love bringing up memories and recalling the past as a way to connect with the living. Know that you can do this too, to connect with the dead. Keep their names and the stories alive. Remember, the power of the tongue is real. Okay? Unbury your dead. Let's see. What time is it? Okay. It's oh yeah, we've only been live 30 minutes. I got time today, so we're gonna move on to chapter 9. However, it's just I love this book. I freaking love this book. And this is a totally unbiased opinion, but you know what I'm saying, Juju Bay is one of the greats. Okay, she is definitely an elder in this, and so I really want y'all to go get her book. Okay. All right, chapter 9. Hold on. Baby, let's get into this rich text. Make a little love and read rich text. Baby, let's get into this rich text. I'm gonna record that. It's gonna be a new song. So don't nobody try to beat me to it because now I have it online and it's mine. Okay, that's my idea. But all right, chapter 9. Go back and fetch it. Sankofa is an African word and a Dinkra symbol from the Akan people of Ghana and Ivory Coast. You may have seen the Sankofa Adinkra symbol engraved on doors, buildings, clothing, and signs. It is usually portrayed as a symbol of a bird that is carrying an egg in its mouth, as the bird is looking backward. I don't know why I put an S on that. That's a habit. I'm from the country. The Adinkra symbol is also represented as a stylized heart-shaped figure, representing the Sankofa term meaning to go back and retrieve. Either way, the popularity of this symbol is quite visible among Black communities and further highlights the importance of returning to the past in order to understand the future. I'm going to show y'all the symbol. See that? I often think about this beloved symbol as I'm doing ancestral work. I'm constantly curious about what I may need to retrieve from the past and how it could make my current and future life more easeful. When recalling my ancestors, there are so many things that I value about their lives. Their ability to thrive, make enjoyable meals, laugh, fall in love, and resist. These are all memories and concepts that I carry close to me. Sankofa can teach us the necessity of seeking answers from our ancestors so that we can avoid repeating unhelpful patterns that may be present within our own lives and that of our bloodlines. Sankofa does not mean wallowing in our past and focusing only on what has already happened. It is more of an intentional peek into history as a way to gain perspective and broaden our present and future horizons. We can never escape the past, so we might as well use it to our advantage. Spiritual warfare. Let me pause. I just was talking about spiritual warfare. You'll see election season is spiritual warfare, y'all. Like, cause they vex me spirit. They really do. They really do. And I sometimes to keep my spirit straight. You got to unplug from these social medias, okay? So just keep that in mind. Much of my work before embracing a more indigenous ancestral way of thinking focused on studying society, unlearning toxic systems, and facing the social implications of issues like trauma, violence, and addiction. Seeing the parallels between not having access to basic human rights and strained communities is not hard. I watch people fight tooth and nail to get corporations and lawmakers to understand this and make change. I was once one of those people trying to get the powers that be to become better humans and afford their customers and constituents better rights. But at some point, I eventually resigned myself to the fact that these larger organizations understand their policies' negative impacts and that iniquity is by design and purposeful. I learned that greed is the common denominator. If people are living in poverty with a lack of resources, of course, the incidence of drug addiction will be higher. But their suffering is cheaper than investing in these neighborhoods. Obviously, if individuals are struggling to make money, unemployment increases, and predatory loan practices prey on low-income people, no wonder there will be elevated robberies in those communities. All by design. These kinds of societal ills deeply impact all of us, regardless of where we live. However, trying to convince people who do not care about you to care seemingly has not worked. I found that it no longer worked for me. Okay? And it no longer works for me either. I became tired of protesting and pleading in hopes of affecting a system that thrives off harming my people. I became depressed by the cycle of horrible news, learning every day about a new group of people who were being abused and whose livelihoods were being ripped away from them. My love and support goes to all the activists and organizers who managed to make this their life's work, fighting for change and dismantling corruption. I am praying for you daily. Okay, yes. I found this work to be unfulfilling for me. I became tired of picket lines and marches. I started to dread living as my work was centered around what it meant to be destitute. I knew that if I was I knew that if I was deciding to choose life and to live, then I had to choose what made my spirit feel more invigorated and lively. Although I, alongside the organizations with which I worked, achieved wins through policy changes from lawmakers, internal relationship reconciliations, and other successful actions, they weren't enough to keep me willing to be alive. This existence started to feel toxic and burdensome in a way that I couldn't handle. But that's because this wasn't my work, and it's hard. I know that organizing is important, but it didn't give me a clear enough map to dream of the world that I felt was possible or perhaps already existed in a distant land in another dimension. Okay? I think the biggest benefit that organizing afforded me was that it solidified the importance of having community and relying on your people to help you more than on systems that hate you. Knowing that I had someone to call in my community who was a trained medical professional instead of solely relying on an ambulance and its attendant sky high medical bills, that was beneficial. This awareness of the power of connection pushed me to go through my personal Rolodex of community members to create the kinds of spaces that I wanted to see. It challenged me to think beyond what was presented to me, and often what I learned to accept as a young girl from Baltimore. It taught me that if you don't have anybody around you that you can trust, you need to find you some folks, and fast. It reminded me that we are all we got. For me, solely, as in only, focusing on systemic human violence did not create an accurate representation of our circumstances, nor did it explain why they are the way they are. Please do not interpret this to mean that I am denying I'm denying what I learned and lived. It is imperative to understand the importance of systems and how they impact our personal and communal lives. Rather, I realize that systems are always backed by something. That something is what interested me. That something extends beyond the individual greed of the extremely wealthy. Although a pervasive and corrupting force, I learned that the something I was searching for was much more spiritual than it was material. From an indigenous worldview, everything on earth is impacted, excuse me, is impacted by the spiritual. As it is as it is in earthly realm, it is also in the heavens. Okay, as above, so below. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. Let me stretch. My back's starting to hurt. I have a back to this chair. I'm sitting on the stool. Okay. Oh, I didn't see other people that came in. Hey, y'all. I'm going to wave because you all came in. Thank you. Okay. From an indigenous worldview. Okay, wait, I read that. I'm starting over because I don't know where I stopped at. From an indigenous worldview, everything on earth is impacted by the spiritual. As it is in the earthly realm, it also it also is in the heavens. When there is a war and discord on earth, there is discord in the spiritual realm. If there is confusion on earth, there is some level of confusion that has already occurred within other dimensions that we are unaware of. This reflection of what occurs in the world also occurring in the land of the unseen allows us to begin to maintain a semblance of control in our own lives. Spiritual warfare is a concept that I've heard used a lot in Christian communities to explain the ever occurring spiritual battles that seek to destroy and corrupt our earthly experiences. Although spiritual warfare sounds like a dramatic term, it does address the idea that there are forces that are, if I can be frank, fucking our shit up. And it is. A lot of forces fucking our shit up, okay? The fight for freedom and liberation is not one that solely involves physical freedoms of the body and land. The freedom struggle is a spiritual struggle. In many African diasporic systems, there are gods or energies of war who are highly venerated. Okay. Yes, there are spirits that are beauty, peace, and goodness, but there are also ones that embody strategy, violence, and protection. Love and light may be new age concepts that seek to bypass the very real and often necessary need for anger and action. Because we have a right to fully actualized, we have the right to a fully actualized and safe life. Those who impose on that safety may face the repercussions of protection by that person or spiritual entity. This can be difficult to internalize because violence is often wielded unnecessarily and constantly against certain groups of people. In the midst of this, Abrahamic tradition often teaches the need for peace, forgiveness, and praying for your enemies, while Africana systems more often highlight the right to protection, both spiritual and physical. Okay. Regardless of where your beliefs fall on this spectrum, understanding the necessity of warfare can strengthen our drive to actively pursue the lives that we feel we deserve. I personally believe that there are many options and opportunities for peace and understanding. But as our ancestors knew, and many of us know now, fighting back is sometimes the next or only viable solution. Since the beginning of time, there have been caste systems and class systems, tribal systems, wars, and violence that have ravaged groups of people. In most ancient societies, we can locate the groups of people who were the most powerful and those who suffered most at the hands of those people. Hierarchies are as human existence. Instead of trying to address the people behind the hierarchies, I feel much more energized by addressing one, the interconnectedness of these hierarchies, and two, the spiritual rationales behind those hierarchies. The difficulty arises when the people within those hierarchies fail to realize that the subjugation of another easily becomes subjugation of the self and all you love. All our identities and hierarchies are interconnected. Okay, let me see. No, we can get through chapter 9. Okay, because it's, oh yeah, let's get through. Hierarchies. A conversation with an online comrade of mine, Jeremy McKnight, helped me flesh out this idea. He wrote that nature, which is so important in an indigenous understanding of the world, shows us that hierarchies are naturally occurring conditions. We can see this in the relationship between predators and prey, such as a lion and zebra. One may assume that lions are better and stronger than zebras because a lion can attack a zebra and devour it within minutes. Although this is true, that's the circle of life after all. It's also true that the zebra's health is of utmost importance to the health and sustenance of the lion. If the zebra does not have access to good grasses and herbs, then it may render itself sick, and then the lion becomes sick. If zebras are a primary source of nutrition for a predator, then that predator's ability to sustain itself is threatened by the precarity of their prey. The intervention of human beings often cause the loss of food sources for animals due to pollutants, human encroachment, and poor agricultural practices. These lead to endangerment of all species, including humans. Hierarchies exist, but the lack of understanding of the connectedness between each relationship is what may one day contribute to our demise as a species. Our existence is inextricably linked to everything around us, which I learned by organizing and studying spirituality. Hierarchies appear even within the spirit realm, as humans often relegate God as the utmost importance, while ancestors and other deities seem to be organized based on their relative secondary importance. I've noticed that ancestors often get relegated to a lesser importance behind more popular deities, and thus are often skipped or ignored altogether. This is why this book exists, to be certain that our hierarchical understandings do not mismanage the necessity of all organisms, spiritual or otherwise, and particularly ancestors. These occurrences led me to think that hierarchies may be unavoidable circumstances in our existence. If that is true, then we must question if freedom is possible as a human being. Freedom can be defined in many ways, but in a basic sense, it is the power to act, speak, and think, free from subjugation, restraint, or hindrance. As I've delved further into indigenous spirituality, I find myself knee deep in concepts surrounding balance. Balance can be understood as the necessity of opposite forces in coexistence. For example, there must be good. For example, there must be good for there to be bad. Light must exist for darkness to exist. Up exists in relationship to down. Each must be present for its opposite to exist. Can we experience the joys of the world without experiencing its sorrows? Whew. Would we know what hot feels like if we couldn't compare it with its opposite, cold? The concept of balance helps us understand the stark differences that exist in the world. However, it doesn't always make us feel better about any of it. This has been difficult for me because I'm sorry. This has been difficult for me because does it mean that we just succumb to the devastations of structural violence because that's just how it is? No. For me, this is where I decide to not let the hierarchies that may be naturally occurring dictate the material conditions of others. If we decide that perhaps our desire for freedom occurs in spirit rather than solely in the physical, we can move beyond the limitations of the imperfect world. Freedom is something that hoodoo and spiritualism have taught me quite a bit about. I know, I now know freedom exists because I felt it. I also know that it exists because slavery exists, and that duality gives liberation possibility. I know that it's possible to be fully free in one's existence. It can happen because although I'm still young, I've lived moments when I felt completely free to move and think and be without resistance. When I felt this way, I've experienced when I felt this way, I've experienced absolutely spiritual moments, whether it was through listening to certain music, participating in ceremonies, or while in a trance or possession. The common denominator was that I lived an openness that allowed spirit to take over my body or the ceremony in a way that was free from inhibition and planning. I think this speaks to our indigenous and elder ancestors. I'm sorry. I think this speaks to our indigenous and elder ancestors' prioritization of ritual, not only as an escape from reality, but as a realization that of what is possible. When we surrender fully to the power of spiritual consciousness. I felt the most free and alive as I've connected to the dead. In order to address the plausible causes of suffering on earth, we must address the causes of suffering in the spiritual realm. Again, our connection to ancestors provides a path to answers. We may give offerings to our ancestors so that they are spiritually equipped and strong to fight our battles. I'm sorry. We must give offerings to our ancestors so that they are spiritually equipped and strong to fight our battles on the earth and in heaven. We may use divination to gain clarity on what forces are swirling against us to better equip to address them with medicine and ritual. Sometimes our spiritual environment, perhaps like our social environment, doesn't have the resources to allow us to thrive, further masking our ability to break free from systems. Those who descended from cultures that understood the importance of this of the spiritual did gain an upper hand in worldly matters. There are numerous examples of how enslaved Africans and Africans on the continent used their spirituality to fight earthly battles. One of the most popular examples can be seen in the Haitian Revolution that lasted from 1791 to 1804. Through these years, the enslaved people of Domingue, or is it Domingue? I think it's Domingue, Saint Domingue, or Haiti, won impermanent independence of colonial rule from France. What makes this revolution particularly interesting was its catalyst, which began with a voodoo ritual in the mountains of Bois Cayman. Vodou rituals among Haitian people have always been not only spiritual assemblies, but also political and social gatherings for addressing and organizing against social ills and effects of colonialism. Hold on. Love the art behind you. Would you want to get popcorn for my uni wrestling team? Inbox me, babe. I can send you the link. Today's the last day. Inbox me. Let me see if I can get it. Oh, excuse me. Okay. I was getting a little choked up. Okay, let's finish this thing on up, honey. This meeting in Bois Cayman was different. On the night of August 14th, 1791, Pause. If y'all don't know what Black August is, go look it up. So many revolutions happened in August. Okay? So y'all go look that up. Where were we? On the night of August 14th, 1791, enslaved people gathered from nearby plantations for an intentional voodoo ceremony presided over by Duddy Bookman, a prominent enslaved African leader and Hugan male voodoo priest. Also present was Cecile Fatiman, a Mambo voodoo priestess. There they strategized gaining their freedoms and were mobilized to revolt against the French. Spiritual and political means went hand in hand as they prayed, planned, danced, and laid offerings for spirits. This excerpt from the official history of Haiti and Haitian Revolution documents some of what occurred, noting a woman started dancing languorously in the crowd, taken by the spirits of the Laos. And Laos is Loaz. Okay. I don't know why I'd be trying to mispronounce that. It's Loaz, but that's Haitian spirits. Okay. With a knife in her hand, she cut the throat of a pig and distributed the blood to all the participants of the meeting, who swore to kill all the whites on the island. The Loa of Ezili Danto, they probably spelled it differently. It's said to have been the spirit who accepted this sacrifice, which enabled the Haitian people to have strength and successfully gain their independence. This example, along with many others, highlights the deep interconnectedness of the spiritual and the social, one that our ancestors knew and understood. Many believe that if the Vodou ceremony did not happen, the Haitians would not have been able to achieve the feat of being the first Black republic in the world. Of course, pause. And that's why they hating. Do you understand me? All right. That's why they're hating. That's why them people is talking about people eating pets, and that the Haitians are eating cats and dogs in Springfield, Ohio. That is so ridiculous, but that's that anti-Black sentiment that is ingrained in those people. Okay. Of course, it is worth noting that although Haitians did gain their immediate freedom, the struggle to free themselves from French colonialism continued as the French continued to find loopholes, i.e., deliberately exploitive systems that maintained their power through poor treaties and agreements that essentially punished Haiti for winning the war. The continued pillaging of Haiti still affects this beloved country, and some have blamed this unfortunate situation not only on corrupt politics, but also on the acceptance of a Western God that is not their own. I'll note that nearing the end of the Haitian Revolution, Black revolutionary leader Toussaint Louverture, a fervent Catholic, popularly named the Father of Haiti, assembled a group of colonists to draft a constitution in 1801 that declared Catholicism the official religion of the island. It is important to note, though, that some Haitian people, particularly those with Congo ancestry, may have already practiced forms of Catholicism prior to its arrival in Haiti, which may have contributed to this acceptance in 1801. Also, Haitian Catholicism is very different from traditional Roman Catholicism, including the synchronization of loas and saints, as well as the incorporation of Vodou practices that eventually birthed much of modern-day voodoo. The role of Christianity and Vodou in the success and struggles of the Haitian Revolution is still a heavily debated topic among spiritualist historians and Haitian communities. Regardless of the debate surrounding which spirits caused Hey, boo. Regardless of the debate surrounding which spirits cause what, there is no denial that a god or gods, spiritual entities, and faith have always been strong components of freedom building and taking across the African diaspora and even further around the world. Faith is such an interesting concept because to it's easy to point to its source of our rationales for so many decisions throughout history. Having faith within an ancestral context is crucial because although you may not always engage with your ancestors in a way that allows you to see or hear them clearly, there is trust that they are there. Okay? Part of the process is learning to trust your faith while continuing to trust your senses and emotions you feel you feel as you work to commune with ancestors. Feels are often disregarded in our society, which so often emphasizes empirical wisdom, hard facts, and tangible receipts. Feelings have often been feelings have often been construed as an inaccurate way to perceive the world, even in spiritual spaces. Yet a feeling is sometimes all you may have as you choose to meditate, sing, dance, or pray with your spirits. You may not hear your ancestors talk, but when you're praying, you feel like you're getting a hug. Or perhaps you feel like someone may be trying to get your attention, even if you're unsure of who exactly this being is. You may feel extremely emotional after trying to pray, or as you sit at your altar and want and want you and I want you and I want you to know that not only are your feelings valid in those instances, you are, in fact, computing a lot of the unseen information in a completely reasonable way. Your intuition is helping you find ways to take that information and apply it to your life. And this is a big part of doing the work. Okay, and that completes chapter 9. Ooh, okay, and we're going to start right there. Because chapter 10 is juicy, but I know we'll be able to get through it. Okay, on Monday, okay? Because y'all know that I have to do these read. I have to do things when my son ain't here. So we will reconvene Monday, okay? Same time, somewhere around 9:30, somewhere between that, okay? But you know, I always try to post before I a few hours before I go live. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? If you like me, if you love me, and you love my content, you know what I'm saying? Hit your notification so you know when I go live. I love you, and I really appreciate y'all. Just so for those who have, this is the book of Juju, okay, written by the beautiful, illustrious, it's Juju Bay, okay, ITSJUJUBAE, okay, on all platforms. You can go get the link in her bio to get the book. It's on Amazon. It's less than $20. It is a great addition to your spiritual journey, okay? And I think that every nigga needs this. Every black person, okay? This book is for you, okay? This is a love offering from her because she loves us and she loves the work that she's doing, okay? So make sure you go check it out. Also check out her podcast, A Little Juju Podcast, because everything that I'm reading in here, she literally has talked about on her podcast. Yeah, that's all I got for y'all. I'm gonna start Spirit Chat back up very soon, so be on the lookout for the post. Okay, we got a full moon coming. I don't know what it's in. What was the last full moon in? Aquarius? This one might be in Taurus. But anyway, it's Venus Day. So let's, real quick, before I get off live, let's talk about the fact that it is Venus Day and Friday the 13th. Okay? The energy. So I know a lot of people have associated Friday the 13th with the spooky shit. That's by design. You understand? the enemy will always come to steal, kill, and destroy. They don't want you to know that when Friday falls on the 13th, this is divine feminine. Okay, 13 cycles in the moon. Okay, so that's what that is giving. 13 is the divine film number. Okay, so on Venus Day, on every Venus Day, I try to, you know what I'm saying, do my things. You know what I'm saying, make sure I'm cute. You know, really big upping myself. Okay, yes. I can't think of the Greek Freya. It came right to me. I think it's Freya. And that's not Greek. I think she's Celtic. But anyway, Freya Friday. You see it? That's the goddess. So yeah, go look it up. Go look up Friday 13th. Google Friday 13th and Divine Feminine, and you'll find it. So yes, on this day we do all things Venus. Okay, we love on ourselves. We love on our people. We adorn ourselves. We get cute. We give ourselves flowers. Okay. Daisy said, "Tell me why I'm drawing a bath." Period. We take luxurious bubble baths. You know what I'm saying? We do our things to love on ourselves. Yes. Okay. So y'all go do that. Like I said, Spirit Chats will be back. The books are open. Oh, she's a Viking goddess. Is that? Oh, that is. Thank you. But then maybe it's not Freya. No, I don't know. But y'all go look it up. Cause see, now I don't know. But no, Celtic Vikings. Y'all, I don't know them white folks. I don't be knowing them white folk gods like that. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Yes. Yep. You might as well take a bath later, boo. Anyway, y'all have to stay there. Let me end this live over here on YouTube and Facebook. I see y'all later. Bye, y'all. Okay.